friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, the show where I, the curator, discuss my personal favorite show of all time, personal favorite franchise of all time, Doctor Who. And wouldn't you know it, I said I wasn't sure if I'm going to do another episode this week before the final one at the end of the month. Turns out I did. Guess we had some more to talk about. And witness to that statement from last week, which, for the record, as of this moment, as of the recording of this video, that episode is not on the channel. It was blocked for copyright reasons. Me and Soda are trying to negotiate its unblockageness. We might actually have to trim certain parts of it, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to record this episode as if last week's episode is actually on the channel and people have actually seen it. So our apologies there. So with me here to join in on the fun is our good friend Snark, the Snark in Space. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing fine. It was blocked. Like, I saw it released. Like, I saw it come up in my...
Did you?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. I don't know if it still is. And maybe they took it down, I guess. Maybe I got the alert when it first came up or something like that. It's odd that it got blocked. I didn't see anything there was no music copyright or anything like that, I don't think.
The weirdest thing is the clip that was copyrighted and got it blocked, there's no audio. And we're talking about it as it happens, and we're explaining what's happening in the clip while you're seeing it, which is exactly what the rules of fair use are. So I don't know what everyone's deal is, but whatever. Not for us to judge.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But before we can get into any of that, we got to talk about the birthday section for this week. We've got a few good ones. We're going from the 17th of October all the way to the 23rd. And starting us off on the 17th, we have Mr. Patrick Ness. Weirdly, for some reason, I did not organize the pictures like I usually do. I don't know what came over me this time, but whatever. Are you familiar with Patrick Ness?
I'm not sure.
He wrote Monster Calls.
Okay.
Monster Tale. Well, what that J.A. Bayona film from a couple of years ago. He also wrote the entirety of the first season of the Doctor Who spin-off Class.
Ooh, okay.
Have you seen Class, by the way?
Yeah, I've just seen the first episode.
Did you like it?
It was fine.
I personally loved it, but for some reason, not enough people did, so it never carried on to the second season. But thankfully, they're trying to keep that flame alive on Big Finish. So there's that. Also on the 17th, there's like 4 people on the 17th. Also on the 17th, Felicity Jones. I'm pretty sure you've heard of her.
Sure.
Yeah, she's from Rogue One. Jyn Erso, but she was also before that in The Unicorn and the Wasp as the character of Robina Redmond, aka the Unicorn. And also on the 17th, Mr. Mark Gatiss. You must have heard of him. I mean, he was in a lot of stuff. First of all, he started in Doctor Who sketch comedy parodies. He was also a Dalek operator on several different occasions.
Oh, really?
He played the Brigadier's father or grandfather, something like that. It's never actually been properly confirmed in Twice Upon a Time. He was also a character called Gantok in The Wedding of River Song. He did a lot of things. He was Professor Lazarus in The Lazarus Experiment. He narrated a lot of Doctor Who books. He did a lot of things. He wrote several episodes. He produced a lot of episodes. He even produced it. I believe he was also directed. What was it? An Adventure in Space and Time, the sort of unofficial biopic of Doctor Who and William Hartnell, which is actually pretty awesome. And of course, go
ahead. My wife just started watching Sherlock this week. She's almost finished it. He was, of course, Mycroft Holmes. Also, the co-creator of the series with a certain Stephen Moffat.
He was also Christopher Robin's boss in the live-action Christopher Robin movie from a couple of years ago with Ewan McGregor. Also on the 17th, we have Timothy Combe. He was an assistant floor manager on The Keys of Marinus, production assistant on The Reign of Terror and the Evil of the Daleks, and a director of Doctor Who and the Silurians and The Mind of Evil. So minor involvement, but whatever. Any little bit counts. Now, on the 18th, we have Edward Brayshaw. Where's the picture? Because I didn't organize it properly. Of course, played the War Chief in the War Games, which also introduced the concept of Time Lords. It introduces us to Gallifrey. And yeah, allegedly he's some form of previous incarnation of the Master, but, unofficial, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. He was also Leon Colbert in The Reign of Terror. So, yeah, he's got one more role besides that. On the 18th, also, we have Miss Shauna Tripsick. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. She was a costume designer for the Torchwood 4th season, the Miracle Day season, also known as the season we do not talk about. But if you're a fan of sci-fi, Shauna Tripsick, several years after the fact, she also became the costume designer for. Hold on, let me see if I got this sound of. Nope, Yep, there it is. The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and even the most recent Ahsoka series.
You can hardly tell.
Now you can hardly tell from this picture. Wouldn't have figured that. On the 19th, we have Robert Beatty, or Beatty. Apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. He played General Cutler in The 10th Planet, but I kind of wanted to bring it up. I'm pretty sure he was the first non-British actor in Doctor Who. Who was Canadian. Of course, he was playing an American, and you can kind of tell by the mannerisms of the character when you watch the episode. But yeah, I think he's the first Canadian on Doctor Who.
It's about time.
Yeah, about time, considering the series creator is also Canadian. So there's that. On the 19th, also, it's so sad that we have to talk about this so soon, but the late great Michael Gambon, he of course played the character of Kazran Sardik in my personal favorite Doctor Who Christmas special, A Christmas Carol. But I mean, he's Professor Dumbledore. Am I right? Like he of course he had lots and lots and lots of other roles, but to us fans, he will always be remembered as the one and only Professor Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore, deceased. Yeah, and on the 20th, this one, I kid you not, I literally only kept it on the list because of you. Okay, we have Colin Jevons. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing the name. He's this guy. He played a character called Daemon in The Underwater Menace, but more importantly, he was George Tracy in the K9 spinoff that you like so much.
Yeah,
remember him? He's the dad of the kid that got zapped by K9 and tried to kidnap the guy to have him executed as rather sacrificed.
Yeah, he lives in a town full of Satanists. His kid's gonna get zapped at some point by K9.
Yeah,
it's the way it goes.
Yep. Also on the 20th, Miss Annika Wills. Of course, she played the character of Polly in the classic Doctor Who series. She was a companion of both the first and second Doctor. She played several other characters on Big Finish, including Lady Louisa Pollard, the mother of Charlie Pollard, in several different occasions. But she's also been a narrator on the many companion chronicles where she got to play both the character of Polly again, as well as all the other characters in the story, including the Doctors themselves. So there's big praise for that. And finally, on the 22nd of October, the one, the only, the master, Derek Jacobi.
Nice.
Sir Derek Jacobi. Of course, he's mostly remembered as the War Master, but he's got tons and tons of other roles on Big Finish, and tons and tons of roles in other areas as well. He's a very well celebrated actor, and for good reason. So for the wonderful list of people we had today, thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you. Now, before we move on to the show proper, there's one other thing I want to mention here. So normally on this show, we try to stay away from politics. We try to stay away from certain things happening around the world that we live in. But this is kind of something that cannot be ignored right now. So speaking of birthdays, today, as of the recording of this video, and hopefully if all goes well, the day this video comes out, the 23rd of August, is the birthday of one Ohad Monder. He was a child from one of the villages surrounding the Gaza Strip, who was abducted by Hamas terrorists into Gaza herself on October 7th. He is celebrating his 9th birthday today, and to pay tribute to him and his family. And I believe he was also kidnapped with his father. I don't necessarily remember, but either he was kidnapped with his father or his father was killed in the attack and he was kidnapped on his own. But yeah, he's 9 today. He's celebrating his 9th birthday, and as tribute, all over the country of Israel, which is of course where I live, citizens have put out red balloons on their porches and balconies in celebration of Ohad's 9th birthday, hence the red balloon on my name right beside me. So I encourage you all to think about Ohad, who's currently celebrating his 9th birthday, 9 years old, living in captivity under the most abhorring conditions you can imagine, held by the most ruthless and brutal terrorist organization of our modern time. So please keep him in your hearts, and happy birthday, Ohad, if you're ever watching this, and anyone who knows and loves Ohad. If you're watching this, this is for him. Would you like me to put a red balloon on your name as well? Do you even know how to do it?
I have no idea how to do anything. You know that.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, of course.
Give me just a sec.
All right.
And we can get back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Sure.
Hold on. There we go. So
nice.
You've joined us in our celebration. So may he be released as soon as possible, and hopefully his 10th birthday he will be celebrating with his family.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Doctor Who for a bit.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
Now, last week we talked about some sonic devices. Some of them were screwdrivers, some of them were screwdriver-like.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a couple of devices we didn't really get to talk about as much. Yeah, so these are still sonic or sonic-ish devices, still used in Doctor Who. But they didn't quite qualify for the criteria for last week.
Sure.
Now we've got 4 of these. No idea how we're going to squeeze an entire episode out of just 4 topics, but it's me, so you never know. And of course, the first thing we're going to talk about are the sonic weapons used by the Ice Warriors in episodes such as The Ice Warriors, The Seeds of Death, The Curse of Peladon, The Monster of Peladon, Cold War, and Empress of Mars. Episodes ranging from the classic and modern series. Of course, these episodes were also used all over Big Finish as well. And, them being sonic devices, it's actually very important to note that they were used on Big Finish, but I do not have the list of episodes memorized at the moment, so I cannot tell you all the episodes that they were used in. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the Red Dawn, Vengeance of the Volperine or whatever. Yeah, see, I don't remember all these episodes offhand. That's why I'm not gonna name them all. So yeah, these weapons. Sadly, I don't have the sound effect handy, but we
Ooh.
do have several clips that we can show. Basically, in the classic series, you don't actually get to see the aftermath of what they do. You just see the effect, but you don't see the person's body after. Well, actually, no, that is an incorrection. You do see the person's body after the fact, but in the modern series, they changed it slightly. So I'm just going to show this picture again. Remember, the Ice Warriors basically have, as Soda calls them, Lego hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in the classic series, they sort of updated them a little bit in the modern series, but essentially, for all intents and purposes, imagine Lego hands.
Got a claws.
Claws that clamp, and they have this little flashlight on top of it that's used as the sonic weapon, or as the targeting system for the weapon, which its effects can be. Hold on. For some reason, that did not upload. Live TV, folks, you gotta love it.
Sure, live on tape.
So I'm going to show the clip of these weapons being used, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of the behind the scenes of how this effect was achieved. Okay, so officially, this is the first time we see these weapons being used, and notice this, it's very brief. Yeah, you like that, didn't you?
I love it.
You're going to love it even more once I explain how this was achieved. But yeah, again, just clamped, and that's basically how they fired the gun, which I suppose kind of makes sense because remember, when you're shooting a gun, you're squeezing.
They can't pull a trigger, but they can sure clamp.
Yeah, because that's the hands that they have.
Yeah.
Now, this was again
unfortunate when they try and pick up things, just regular things, and they end up shooting it.
No, I think it's more of a Spider-Man type thing, where like they know when that they can control when they're closing their arms to grab something, and when they are closing their hands to shoot something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Spider-Man, the sort of what's the word I'm looking for? The
web
button?
shooter.
Yeah, no, not the web shooter, but the button. There's a word for what that button is. Not a trigger. A rig, I don't remember, but yeah, it's like there's this little button right over here above his palm that only activates the web shooter when he's using the two fingers in the middle of his palm. I'm not even showing it to you.
Right.
So that's why the web shooter doesn't fire when he's closing his fist or when he's grabbing something. It only fires when he's using those two fingers. So I would assume it's the same logic for the Ice Warriors. Now, again, this was just a very brief usage of the weapon. I believe it's also the first time you actually get to see it, or rather, first evidence we have it in live action, because several of the episodes from their debut serial were destroyed by the ABC because they were all idiots. But here's another episode that I believe all the episodes were found and recovered. So this episode is not missing. The Seeds of Death, their second appearance, and where you can see a updated look of how these weapons operate. Go ahead.
Harvey, don't!
The look on your face in the screen below was all I needed.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to talk about that now. Do you know how that effect was achieved?
I don't know, just going out of focus and then shaking it around. I have no idea.
No. Basically, what they did is they pointed the camera at an aluminum a long sheet of aluminum paper.
Right.
It was pointed opposite where the person was. So you're not really seeing the camera is not pointed at the person himself. It was pointed at the reflection on the aluminum sheet, and then they just crumpled it up. There was a guy standing behind it, crampling it up back and forth to give the illusion that the guy was going through some stuff.
Nice. So it's a 45-cent effect, which is awesome.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I'm figuring that's how much it costs to get a sheet of aluminum
45
foil.
cents. Yeah, now I get it. Funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so hold on. So do you want to see it again?
Yes,
and
of
now
course.
Visualize what I just said.
Mhm.
Okay?
Harvey, don't!
Looks pretty good.
Yes, you can. Of course, that's why they did it. I mean, that's what happens when a show like Doctor Who is stressed for budget.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got another clip over here. Oh yeah. Sorry. So this is a close up of them of one of them pointing the weapon at someone, so we can get to see a closer look at the weapon. Watch this. See, they basically they didn't even try to hide it. They just took a flashlight and glued it onto the claw hand.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
They changed it a little bit from the first one, but yeah, that's all it is.
So this is from the Seeds of Death. The flashlight. And the first appearance was the Ice Warriors. There's a sort of thing around it. Hold on, let's see this again. Still good. Good.
It's great. What a scream.
Oh, dude, trust me. You understand it better if you actually watch the episode, because he's got a voice. Like what's the guy from Monty Python with that voice? I think, is it Eric Idle, the one that sings "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life"?
Yep.
He's also the guy that in that scene where they ask, "What have the Romans done for us?" He's like, "The aqueduct."
Yeah.
So he's got that kind of voice when he's talking.
Very
Very
nice.
dopey like voice. So that explains the scream. I'll play it again just so you can visualize. So try to visualize the scream in your head. Very nice. Now, so these were, I think, yeah. So these sonic weapons were used in color as well in the Curse of Peladon and the Monster of Peladon, but I didn't grab the clips from that because you'd basically be seeing the same thing, the aluminum sheet and someone waving it back and forth. So what I did bring is I brought a scene from the modern series in the episode Empress of Mars, so you can see the changes they've made to the weapon that the Ice Warriors use. Watch this.
Looks more organic.
So not just more organic, more professional. Like it's literally coming out of the arm as opposed to being stuck on the thing. And even the arm itself doesn't look much like a claw anymore. It looks like it's got something resembling fingers and scales. But now it's not like the low budget thing of just showing the flashlight pointed at the camera, and then we're seeing the aluminum sheet thing, and then we see the guy dropping to the floor. Instead, you actually do get to see the shot coming from the weapon, crumpling the person up. I'll show the clip again. And the end result, from what I can tell, it's like you taking a person and putting him through a washing machine.
Yeah.
And in this clip, in this other clip that I brought, you can see the end result right here, like taking a person, mashing him up into a cube.
Yeah, like a piece of paper.
A human cube, which, no, I guess in a way it's kind of like what they did to the aluminum sheet. They crumpled it up.
What a way to go.
Horrible way to go. And in that clip, you'll notice he's screaming the whole way through.
Well, until his larynx is crushed.
Yeah, until he can't make a voice anymore. And look how fast that is compared to this.
Harvey, don't!
And the guy's in one piece still, too.
Well, I guess they got more advanced weapons in the modern series. So,
That's
yep. So that's it for the Ice Warriors themselves. The next thing we're going to talk about is actually not from the show Doctor Who itself. It's actually from a spin-off, Torchwood, to be specific. It's the sonic modulator seen in the episode Fragments. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the episode itself. So the episode itself, Fragments, is the penultimate episode of season 2, where right before the big ground-shaking, storyline-changing season finale, we get a episode that explains the backstory and origins of all the different Torchwood team members. So, of course, episode 1 of the series basically starts with how Gwen Cooper, played by Eve Miles, was recruited into Torchwood by Captain Jack Harkness. The episode Fragments shows not just how Jack himself was recruited into Torchwood in the first place, but also how he recruited all the other characters on the show into the organization itself. So we get to learn more about their backstory and their origins. And the specific origin we're talking about here is the origin of Toshiko Sato, played by Naoko Mori on the show, who also appeared in Doctor Who proper in the episode Aliens of London. The Doctor Who was taking care of the alien pig that left behind. So in this episode, in this back, can you see me?
I can see a black box where you are, but I can hear you.
That's weird. What happened to my camera? Hold on. So I'm gonna continue without my camera for a bit until I can figure this out.
Sure.
In any case, so we learned in this episode that Tasha's mother was kidnapped by some very shady people who wanted to use Toshiko's brains to build them a weapon that they can use. And so they basically had Tosh steal classified documents from a secret government installation, which it's been a while since I've seen the episode, but I don't think it was UNIT. I don't think it was the Black Archive by any chance. I don't necessarily remember what it was, but for now, let's just say secret government installation.
Okay.
And I can't figure out the mirror. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop out for a second and come back in. Hopefully this will get figured out. So be back in a sec.
It's a familiar looking picture on there.
I wonder why.
Hey guys, it's me, Snark. Now the head of the Doctor Who show. We're going to talk about everything Doctor Who in as minimal as we can, because while 50 is an expert, there he is again.
Well, I don't know what it was, but it worked. So congratulations to me. Anyways, so and of course one of the pictures got deleted, but not this one. So yeah, after she stole stole the specs to build this this device, the sonic modulator, She brought it back to those shady people, who then proceeded to use it on her and her mother before being found. Actually, no, yeah. Then they were found by UNIT and arrested by them. And Tosh, of course, was thrown in prison, a UNIT prison, and was sort of released by Captain Jack, who then proceeded to recruit her into Torchwood proper. And I have a clip. It's got no audio because it's a long one, so we're not gonna need to talk about it. So
Okay.
it's mainly just to show a better look of the device itself. So here we go. We get to see Jack pulls out the device and shows it to Toshiko Sato. Now, in this scene, he tells her that the specs that she stole and built it from, he's like, "You built this," and she said, "Yeah, I built it from the specs that I stole. I had no knowledge on how this thing is supposed to work." And then he mentions to her that the specs were wrong. That's why they were shelved. That's why no one was allowed to see them. It's because they were wrong. They were faulty. If this thing, someone would have built this device from those specs, it wouldn't have worked. Or worse, it would have blown up in their faces. So she fixed things along the way while she was looking at the instructions and the manual, and she actually constructed a fully functioning sonic modulator from scratch, essentially. And what this device does is basically, hold on, probably should have brought this up for the comparison, but where it is, there we go. There's the clip I was looking for. This is the clip that we showed last week, and this is essentially what the sonic modulator does as soon as the clip uploads. There you go.
One more thing before dying. Do you know what happens if you hold two identical sonic devices against each other?
No.
Nor me. Let's find out.
So yeah, this is basically what it does. The sonic modulator modulates the sonics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the device itself, I don't think was ever shown, used, or even heard of again in the show going forward. But it was a nice entryway to get Tosh into the series.
Sure.
So, hold on. And now we're on to the thing that was deleted from the thing after I was forced out. The phonic disruptor. Phonic. This thing. Whatever the hell this thing is. So this was shown on another Doctor Who spin-off, the Sarah Jane Adventures, in the episode Enemy of the Bane. It was also kind of used in Invasion of the Bane, but the actual sonic of the thing was used into effect in Enemy of the Bane, the season finale of season 2 of the Sarah Jane Adventures. It was used by the character of Mrs. Wormwood, who is kind of, sort of the unofficial mother of Luke Smith, the Sarah Jane's adopted son. And basically, it's a ring, and she activates it by putting these two fingers on the ring itself and twisting it. You can kind of see it in this picture right here. You also see it in the clip that I'll show in just a minute. But what it does, kind of the same thing as the sonic modulator, except it's on a ring and it's got a less cool name. So this is Mrs. Wormwood using it on Geeta Chandra, the mother of Rani Chandra, in the opening scene of the final episode. Here it is. So basically, it's a massive shockwave of sound to knock someone out.
Sure.
which I guess there's the Sonic
Yeah,
part of it.
makes more sense than the Iceman's weapon in the last one was actually showing a bolt of light coming out or whatever. This one actually is sound.
Yeah, it's not very Sonic,
No.
unless they changed the purpose of the weapons in the modern series. But no, actually, in the Matt Smith episode, he says that it's Sonic technology. So I don't know. I don't understand what the deal is with that. But so these are all the ones I have clips for.
Okay.
Any notes you want to say on any of the devices we've seen so far before we move on to the last one? And trust me, you might have some words to say about the last one.
Okay. I don't have too many notes. I think I just mentioned the one or whatever about the Iceman's light coming out or whatever of the last one. I thought, the name Sonic means sound, so it should just be a sound based weapon or tool. I do like actually that ring and that the lady that plays the character there looks awfully familiar, but I'm trying to place where I know her from, but it's escaping me right now.
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Was she Moneypenny in the like in James Bond in the 90s?
I doubt it. Give me a second. Mrs. Wormwood. Samantha Bond. So
I'm pretty
not
sure
James
she is.
Bond.
I'm pretty
Not
sure
James
she's
Bond.
Moneypenny.
Hold on, let's see. Searching Adventures, blah 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 blah. Doesn't it have?
Let's
Hold
go to
on.
IMDb. Samantha Bond. I'm sure she is.
Yeah, IMDb. Hold on. She's in GoldenEye. Yeah, Moneypenny. She is Moneypenny.
I'm the champion. I'm the champion of the episode. Woohoo!
And your winner.
I did it.
So GoldenEye, Die Another Day, Tomorrow Never Dies, and The World Is Not Enough.
Yeah,
What else?
the Pierce Brosnan ones.
Yeah, she's The Inheritance, Dreamland, Red Riding Hood, After Ever After.
She had that great line: "Is you've always been a cunning linguist."
Yeah, she's got a few other credits, but mostly known as Moneypenny.
Mm-hmm.
So, there we go. We learned something new today, or at least I did.
There you go. Glad to help.
Yeah. Well, what the hell would I be doing without you?
Don't start.
Oh, stop. So, do you want to go to the final one?
Let's do it.
Okay, so this final one appears in a wide variety of Doctor Who content, from novels to comic books to audios, and is the primary gadget used by Iris Wildtime.
Okay.
We talked about Iris Wildtime a couple of times, right?
Right.
Tell me, what do you know about Iris Wildtime before we show it the thing?
Couldn't tell you. Just know we've talked about it.
Yeah, so she's kind of an anti-doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of obvious. You can tell that the writers are just trying to make her the Doctor, but weird and as crazy as you can think. Here's a good example. Soda will be proud of this. She's a bizarro Doctor.
Okay.
Like, she comes from a family of aunts as opposed to a family of cousins, which is the norm on Gallifrey. She comes from Gallifrey's southernmost side. I can't remember what the exact thing is. I'll look it up as I'm misanthropic adventurous or whatever. Hold on. But yeah, she travels around time and space in a time machine that looks like a double-decker bus.
We talked about that.
She's got a companion who is a sentient panda bear, or rather, a sentient panda bear plushie. Transtemporal adventurous. That's the official description. And every time she regenerates, she always regenerates into famous actresses, which is kind of why she's been several. Which kind of explains why she's played by Katie Manning in most of her Big Finish appearances.
Right.
So let's see. She's played by. Let me just. So she's played by Edith Sitwell, Shirley Bassey, Beryl Reed. Hold on. Jane Fonda. The aforementioned Katie Manning. And what else? There's one more. And Margaret Rutherford.
No idea what that is.
Me neither.
Okay.
Probably I think one of those was supposed to be a famous actress, theater actress from the 1800s or something.
Must be her.
But either way, so she's traveling with a time-traveling double-decker bus. She's got a companion who is a sentient talking plushie of a panda bear, and her main device of choice is, let me look for the drum roll thing again, a sonic corkscrew.
I like it.
Yep. Which I guess does exactly the same thing you'd expect a sonic screwdriver to do, except it's a corkscrew.
Nice.
So, yeah. Like I said, she's the Doctor, but weird. Like, they were actively trying to go as wild as possible, hence the name, and to deviate from the Doctor as much as possible. And she does regularly meet various incarnations of the Doctor in various forms of media, and kind of an unofficial companion. But it's kind of a rabbit hole. She's got her own series on Big Finish. It's got multiple seasons and multiple box sets. It's a character worth delving into if you've got the stomach for it, if you can handle it.
Ooh, sounds like a dare. Sounds like a dare.
Do you dare?
Oh, maybe I do. And misanthropic and a companion of the Doctor seems like it's completely opposite. A misanthrope is someone who hates mankind. So if you go to the Doctor who absolutely loves mankind, I believe that would make for an interesting pairing.
Did I say misanthropic? I said transtemporal.
Oh, I think at first you said misanthropic. Then you said, yeah. I think misanthropic would be pretty interesting. Someone who hates mankind besides someone who wants to save it.
But again, like I said, it would be the perfect antithesis to the Doctor.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Okay, now I get it.
But she, from the few exposures that I've seen in this character, I don't think she is misanthropic. Okay. But, well, I don't know the character that well. So sue me. What are you going to do?
Well, I'll talk to my lawyer.
Yeah,
He's
you
quite
do
litigious.
that.
He's litigious.
Yeah, you do that, but your legal problems with me. Do you know what they are?
Mm-mm.
A story for another time.
Oh boy.
So this is one of the shortest episodes we've ever done, but considering how much we actually had to talk about, not much of a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we're back to the regularly scheduled programming of just having the usual tier list to finish off the month. We're going to be ranking the designs of all the Sonics we talked about this month, from the Doctors, Sonic screwdrivers, the Sonic devices used by other characters, and of course, the Sonic Course crew.
I like it.
I'll see if I can get Soda to weigh in on that one as well, because he's been on the show for the first 2 episodes of this month, so he's got some knowledge of some screwdrivers, I would imagine. But yeah. So where can the good people of the interwebs find you?
Find me over on Let's Get Ready Network. Currently talking about what are we talking? Loki season 2. I've also got over on Let's Get Ready Network the highlights. We're talking English Premier League on Starting 11. That show's back. They're back from their European break. So Chelsea had a 2-0 lead on Arsenal. That was disappeared thanks to a certain goalkeeper, but I will be talking about that very soon. You can find me on, X or Twitter or whatever, at SnarkYeti. But guys, I'm not a great follow. I don't do much at all on that. How about you, 50?
And you can find me on my YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, where I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2022. As well as this show every Monday. Hopefully every Monday, if we don't get blocked by the YouTube algorithm. And speaking of being blocked by the YouTube algorithm, this also happened on my other show, Fun with Flags, the show that I do with Soda. I'm 50. It's been a long couple of weeks. Let's put it that way. The show that I do with Soda, where we talk about our individual countries on the show Fun with Flags. Soda also has his own show on the network called So Dagan Wrestling, where he talks mainly about wrestling with our good friend Dagan. And you can also check out all the other shows we have in the wider Benverse at large. We have something to talk about: Galaxy Geeks, Multiverse of Geekdom, Movie Lovers Unite, The Midnight Cinema, 8-10 Reviews, and of course, In the Front Row, which is not featured in this thumbnail still. But yeah, so this is all we got to talk about for this week. So yeah, once again, always remember to use your Sonic devices correctly. And before we go, I'll say it again. Please help us all in wishing Ohad Monder a happy birthday in captivity, and hope that the next year he will be celebrating his birthday with his family on the right side of the map. Let us all hope and pray for his safe return as soon as possible, and that this whole terrible situation between Israel and Hamas will be over as soon as possible, and hopefully will never happen again. So thank you all for watching if you have. And in the words of Missy herself,
don't forget to like and subscribe.
Goodbye.